This is my 2017 Toyota Tacoma TRD Offroad. And TRD Offroad? Is it a TRD Offroad? Is that what they call it? Oh, it is! Look at that, it is a TRD Offroad. And this is my daily driver. We've been going up into the mountains a little bit more recently, playing with the truck, doing some kind of off-roading stuff with it. Now, traditionally, I've been someone who just likes to build cars, build fast cars for fun. My RX-7, my 911, which I haven't really gotten into too much, the Subarus, the whole kit and caboodle of stuff. But the truck hasn't been getting much love lately, and that's because I've been waiting on a lot of parts to come in for this thing. So over the course of this video, we are gonna be giving my 2017 TRD Offroad a complete makeover. Everything from exhaust, roof racks, light bars, front bumpers, winches, the whole kit and caboodle. Let's start out with the exhaust. Let's get into this stuff. We are back down at Forced Induction Motorsports again with our guys, Israel and Fernando, who are working on a super fast, crazy, wild Honda over there. It's the fastest one in the world, actually. The fastest Honda in the world. This thing makes, oh, you told me it made like 4,000 horsepower? Isn't that right? No. Our guys over at AWE thought that our truck was a little bit too quiet, so they sent over their insane exhaust for this thing. It's actually a true dual exhaust for the Tacoma. I believe it's the only one out there that is a true dual exhaust that goes from, it's a catback, so it's gonna go from the catalytic converters all the way to the back of the truck, and it looks absolutely beautiful. We've been running AWE on a lot of our stuff for a long time now. Our GTI has an AWE track on it. My old WRX had an AWE touring on it. This is gonna get AWE's exhaust on it, and it's gonna sound wild. I like the AWE exhaust because they're not over the top. Like, it's not crazy loud, it's not like too quiet. It's always like perfect to right in the middle. So I'm excited to get this thing on because right now the Tacoma is a little bit quiet for my tastes. So we're gonna get that fixed. So here we have our full exhaust from AWE. We have two 180-degree technology mufflers from them. We've got one resonator and then all of the piping. It does come with one H pipe to, I guess, kind of equalize out the exhaust flow coming out of the truck. So it should sound beautiful. Now, my favorite part about this exhaust setup, AWE actually gives you two exhaust tip options for this exhaust. You can get either stainless steel or this nice anodized black exhaust tip that's gonna come out of the back right of the truck, or if you're gonna be going off-roading, doing any type of trailing, we have these brush guard style exhaust tips that will actually raise your ground clearance for your exhaust and tuck it up by the rear leaf springs, and I'll show you after we get this installed. So, first things first, let's go ahead and get our Tacoma up in the air, start getting our stock exhaust off this thing. We have one big loop that comes up and over the rear axle here. It comes out of the back right of the truck. And then coming up here, a massive muffler from Toyota coming up to this guy, which all of this is super crusty, which kind of sucks. I don't even know if these have exhaust gaskets in here, but everything is just held together with a couple 14 mils. So looks like we're just gonna hit all of this with some 14 millimeters. Get our exhaust hanger pliers, pull off the hangers from here, and then drop this old exhaust out. My truck has about 100,000 miles on it, and needless to say, some of these exhaust bolts just did not want to come off and needed a little bit of persuasion, but they're gonna start to swing down. There's one. Release. All right. Okay, maybe the easier one is just coming on this side. Now, when fitting up the AWE exhaust, it's pretty self-explanatory to figure out what pipe goes where. Everything can really only go in one spot when you're installing this. The flanges that actually bolt up to the factory header can really only go on one way. The X pipe, the mufflers, they all can only fit up one way. You can use this as a reference. They have plenty of pictures online if you need to pull those up and just take a look at a completed exhaust, but you should be able to figure it out just by looking at the pipes. We're gonna go into this exhaust hanger. Go into that exhaust hanger. Go there, maybe. That's what I'm saying. Something like that. Do any of us really know what we're doing? So it looks like, I could be wrong here, but it looks like that is gonna go in there. Oh yeah, we got it. I'd mentioned this earlier, they also give you these little engraved tips. So if you're off-roading, wheeling, or anything like that, you can drop this rear section off and just put this tip on right here, or run no tip if you wanted, but you can at least put this guy on right there, which will give you a lot more clearance underneath the truck when you're off-roading. So now that we've got all of this on, let's go ahead and get our tips on, get a sound test. I want to give a huge shout out to AWE one more time for shooting that exhaust over. So now that we have our exhaust on our truck, the next thing I want to knock out is a roof rack and a light bar. These took quite a while to ship out. I think I bought these 3 or 4 months ago, and they just finally showed up. Prinsu, the original modular Prinsu roof rack. I've had this thing sitting around for a couple of days. It's gotten a little bit dusty, and mainly I want to get it off the shop floor and onto the truck. So that way, A, the truck has it installed, but B, I stop kicking this thing. Ow! Ow! It cut me! It fucking got me! Oh, that fucking hurt. It's like a paper cup or worse. Oi, Prinsu, that fucking hurt. How do we open? I'm guessing that's a crossbar. We got another piece. Paper. More bars. How many fucking crossbars do we need? Jesus Christ. Box, I'm guessing, is our light bar. A little bit different than I was expecting, but for some reason I thought this was going to be yellow. I ordered a yellow light bar. I don't know why I ordered yellow. I think it was on sale. I got all this for Memorial Day sale. I got it for cheap. Cheap, which is why I bought it. Alright, cool. So, we got a lot of stuff. I'm assuming we should probably just start with the roof rack before anything. Get that figured out. Get that mounted on the truck. Figure out why they gave us black silicone gasket maker and kind of go from there. This piece here that fell on the ground, this is the fairing. So this is what shows on the front of the truck. It says Prinsu. And then the one silver one is what the fairing bolts to. We've got that figured out. Now in here, one of these bags, there should be some like little slidey boys right here. These are for the fairing. So what is gonna happen is these are going to slide into the channel of the extrusion here and then bolt the fairing to the extrusion. So we can kind of gauge where it's gonna go if we just kind of measure up like where this is gonna sit. Then we can slide these pieces in, flathead here, and just kind of slide these guys down to where they gotta go. For the wind fairing, it's pretty self-explanatory for how this goes together. Like I said, those little sliding pieces are gonna line up with the holes in the actual fairing. You're gonna bolt those together, and then you're gonna put the weather seal on the bottom side opposite of where the light bar would go. That just gives one extra layer of protection between the fairing and the paint, so that way you're not scratching the ever-living hell out of your truck. For the roof rack, if you guys get this one, a couple tips here. If you don't have it, they really just don't give you that that much information on how to put these together. The extrusion pieces, they're gonna have these slots. The slots have to face upwards, that is the top. On the inside here, there are 4 cut pieces that will resemble this big long structure going down each side. And those are gonna stack on the inside of the roof rack, and that essentially just locates all of the holes. If you look at the inside here, it locates all the holes for what you're going to use on these extrusions, because a lot of them are just slotted channels. So it tells you exactly where to put all these pieces of extrusion, how they go, and kind of the location of them. So let me get these last 4 pieces of extrusion on, and then we got to figure out these brackets, because these are a little bit confusing to me. This one just says like D1, which I'm assuming is driver 1. This one is 2. This one is passenger 1. 2, 3, 3. So I don't know if 2 and 3 don't matter what side they go on, and only driver and passenger do. So we'll figure it out. Let's get the other extrusion on here so that way we can actually get the skeleton of the roof rack made, and then we can pick this thing, and then we can get the feet on, locate where the holes are going to be on the roof rails up top, get this thing on there, get it bolted on, and then start playing with the light bar. We have the roof rack fully assembled here. So for the feet, where it says P1 and D1, D1 is driver side, P1 is passenger side, 2 and 3 do not matter. So at this point, this thing is ready to be picked up and put onto the roof. We need to first locate on the roof where it's going. And to do that, we need to lose this strip here. I've already done it on this side. There's gonna be some, I don't really know how to, it's like taped down tape that goes over the holes for where the roof rack's going to bolt in. I'm just going to leave my roof rails out. I really don't care to have them in, to be honest. If you want, you can drill holes in this for where they're all going to go. Personally, I'm just gonna take them out. If I want to put them back in later, I can totally do that, except for that one, because I experimented with that one, and that one's that one's garbage now. So to get these out, you literally just stick something in here. You can pull up on it. Where's my tool? Come here and stick like a pry tool in here. Just kind of lift up on it. It's really only taped down in one spot, so once you get past the tape, I'm trying to do this one-handed, hang on. Yeah, it's only really taped down right there, and then the whole thing comes up. So this is what I'm talking about here. You're gonna take it off and it looks like there's no holes. There's this like weird tape stuff that's like right here. There's one here, one in the middle, and then one up top. So I've just been kind of like scraping it off a little bit. If you want, you could probably just poke the holes, but I'm just taking the tape off. It's not really much harder. So let me get these 3 pieces of tape off. That'll expose all of these, and then we can get ready to put our roof rack right up here. Now when you go to install this rack, you're gonna get a tube of sealant with it. That sealant is gonna go under the black spacers, and I also put it on the threads of the bolts to make sure that no water was going to get from the outside of the truck to the inside of the truck, because that's the last thing you want. You don't want your truck molding, you don't want it smelling like mold, and it's just nasty when water gets inside. So make sure you're using that sealant very liberally. Put it everywhere. We have the rack all installed. I will say they do give you a tube of sealant. When you go to put these screws in, make sure that you use the sealant to seal it all up. If you don't, water will leak through. But to show you guys, you can stand on the roof rack. It ain't going nowhere. I can touch the top of my lift. I can almost touch my lights now. So sick. We still need to wire up the light bar. I'm gonna wait on that for a little bit. In the meantime, we are going to toss on our front bumper. So right here we have a C4 fabrication front bumper. I also opted for a winch from Warren. I want to say it's an 8K winch. I lied, it's a VR10, it's a 10K winch. Additionally, I did have all of this powder coated a satin black. It was just what I had sitting around for powder coat in my powder coat drawer. I think I would have rather had a textured black, but it's whatever. This still looks good held up against the truck. They do send all of this in a raw finish, so there is no coating on it, so you're either gonna have to paint it or powder coat it or do something to protect it. I wanna say it's stainless, so it shouldn't rust, but it could be mild steel. Now what we're gonna have to do is trim the entire bottom side of this bumper off. We're gonna lose our fog lights. We do keep the grill. I also have some lights that we'll end up tossing in the grill as well, just to kind of add to the look of it, but it should be a little nice addition to have on the truck. So let's get started on the bumper. Let me look up the cut lines, because once again, they don't send you any instructions, they just kind of have a video online. First up, we gotta take grill off, get that thing off. It's 210s, a couple pop clips, and then this thing will pull right out. pop all of these clips out for the bumper. If you guys don't know how to get them out, a little pop clip tool makes your life way easy. You can use a flathead screwdriver if you want. Regardless, pop them right out. So watching C4's video on how to put this bumper on, we got to cut this thing. So they want us to make a mark following one of the body lines coming out here on the inside of the fog light cover. And then next we're gonna go from this center point where these two body lines meet, 6 inches down from that, we're gonna make another mark, which is gonna be right here. 3 1/8 from this end seam where the bumper meets the fender, 3 1/8 right here. And then that's gonna pretty much be our cut line for where we're cutting this. So we need to put a piece of tape following these 3 body lines, because I guess we are taking the bumper off and cutting it off car, I'm assuming. I'm not sure yet, but we want this tape to just kind of follow the cut line. It doesn't really matter if it's all crinkled up top like this. What we're looking for is this bottom line to be somewhat straight for the cut line of where we're going to be cutting this. I think I got all the clips off for the bumper, because the bumper's got to come off next. I just want to double check on the bottom right here, which is that part of the bumper? Pull the bumper out. Boom. So we got to pull this bumper completely apart. That's going to be the wiring harnesses, the fog lights, the grill inserts, all of this, because we're going to be cutting pretty much the entire lower section off, and we're only going to be retaining the upper part. So all this comes out. Fog lights are really just held in with one Phillips head screw, because we do not keep these fog lights, unfortunately, which I like these fog lights. I just got them. All right. So this grill's got to come out, which looks like it's just some pop tabs. Got to be a little forceful with it, but nothing crazy. Just kind of show it who's boss. Here's the center grill piece. I don't really see a point in popping out the bottom grill, but actually I'm just gonna leave it in. Now comes the fun part of cutting the bumper. So we're just gonna follow that line that we made here all the way down and across, and that's gonna pretty much separate the bottom half of the bumper from the top half, and the top half is really all that we're using. If you decide to get a bumper where you're gonna have to cut up your front bumper, take your time with the cuts. Make sure they're as straight as possible. Make sure you got a steady hand, and make sure you are following that cut line. The last thing that you want is a jagged looking bumper. To an extent, you can kind of clean it up with a deburring tool, but you want your lines to be nice and crisp. In the video I'm watching, they said we may need to trim this bracket here. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim it. You know, I'd rather trim it now and have the winch fit than try to put the winch in, find out it doesn't fit, then have to struggle with it. So I'd rather just do it now. If you guys make this cut, make sure you guys do paint it so that way it doesn't rust. That's the last thing that you want to happen. Or maybe it's the first thing you want to happen. I don't know. I don't know you. You might. There's 3 14s. You're going to have 1 on the inside of this bar and then 2 on the outside. And then this whole front assembly is going to come off. And I think at that point we are ready to put on our original factory plastic bumper, I guess at least what's left of it. And then I think at that point we're going to be good to start putting the new stuff on.
Already here.
This is called free labor.
Your boy was not thinking.
I just stopped.
Yeah. You go grab it real quick.
There it goes. We have relocated the power steering cooler. C4 gives you brackets to be able to push this back enough to where you can fit a winch in here. That is why we trimmed this piece up here as well, because I mean, we have that worn winch that's going to be going on here. With this power steering cooler, you want to try to leave some room in between there. We left as much as we could with still trying to push it back. So we've removed the little end pieces, the factory tow hook, trimmed the mud guards, trimmed the center brace, pushed back the power steering cooler, removed that, so we're good to put the plastic piece back on. We can at least do that right now. There's really, you want to grab that side?
That's like a front lift at this point.
There's like really not much left of it. And then this slides. I'll kind of go under the flare. Went up and down. I'll grab the clips. Just leave it like that. The grill will still go on, so I mean, we could just leave it like that. Installing the bumper is really what got us, because we thought that the side pieces were gonna go on after the bumper was installed, and that's not the case. You need to put this front bumper together pretty much fully off the truck before you bolt it up on. That means winch goes on, end wing plates, whatever you want to call them, go on, and then you can actually put the bumper on the truck. Once the bumper's on, you're not going to have access to the winch or the winch control box. We were supposed to put the grill on prior to installing the bumper, but there is no way to access the bolts for the winch control box with the grill on there. And getting the grill on later is going to be a real pain in the butt. You can get it on, but you're going to have to force it in, and it is going to scratch up the bottom of the grill. So do keep that in mind. It's just, there was a lot of on and off. Also, make sure you level the bumper because it can go on kind of sideways. We got the bumper on. The last thing you guys saw was us time-lapsing getting this thing on, because we actually had to take this back off to put it back on. It was a real pain in the butt. C4 doesn't give the best instructions with this, so the way that we ended up having to do this was we had to get the center piece and the winch bolted together, the end pieces bolted to this, and then there's a frame brace right here, which is optional, that bolts on the inside of this, and you have to drill a hole through the frame. We opted to do that with having a winch on here. I wanted this thing to be as sturdy as possible. So it's mounted in the factory position down here. It's mounted on the side of the brace here, or side of the frame there, and it's also mounted on the frame right here. So this bumper, it literally is not going to go anywhere. The winch was a little bit of a pain because we didn't realize that we had to mount the ground strap to it. It's my first time installing a winch, so you can talk poop if you want, but didn't realize that we had to install the ground strap to the winch, and it didn't come pre-installed. They have you mount the winch controller in there, which is not a problem, but they tell you to put the front grill on before you put the bumper on, and if you're mounting your winch controller back there, you just can't. So you kind of have to just forcefully shove the grill under the bumper to get it in there. I had some spare Raptor lights laying around, so I also opted to throw those on. I did get the light bar mounted up, or wired up as well, so everything is working properly. I just have the switch installed right here, so when you push that button, it illuminates and the light bar turns on. I ended up running the wiring through the C channel right here because I didn't want to drill a hole in the roof for obvious reasons. If I don't have to drill any excess holes in the truck, I really just don't want to, but I'm really happy with how the truck came out looking, and I think it'll perform way better when we go up into the mountains, especially by ourselves. Having the security of the winch of being able to pull ourselves out of a sticky situation is going to be a huge changer. For the power and the ground cable on the winch, they actually come down right behind the frame right there, and then just come out where the AC comes. I have them wrapping around the battery. Positive is going to the battery. The negative is actually going to the chassis, which shares a shared ground point with the battery. Don't judge my battery. I know I need to replace it. Next thing I really want to do to this, supercharger. As for the winch bracket, you guys can see that the controller is mounted right there. I have a wireless winch controller, or I can plug it in here. Either option will work. I feel like if the internal battery on the winch controller dies, we can just plug it in and not have an issue with it, but it also gives us the ability to be able to sit inside of the truck, hook up the winch to whatever we're trying to get like hooked up to, and get ourselves out of a situation. That way, if I am by myself, I can steer and use the winch at the same time. I did want to show you guys this for the light bar wiring. Obviously, we just pull power from the battery. Ground goes to the chassis right here, and then we fed the light bar wiring through that grommet going into the cab, and it works perfectly. It just pops right out under the footwell. For the wiring for the OEM switch, we only ended up using 3 of the wires. We used red with orange stripe, black and green with yellow stripe, and the wiring color is going to be black to black, blue to red with orange stripe, and then white to green with yellow stripe, and then that will just hook it up as an OEM button, right like that. And then any excess wiring that you have, you can just tuck up under the dash, push your button. When the button's on, it'll illuminate, and the light bar is on. When the light bar is off, push it again, and it doesn't illuminate. Overall, I'm super happy with how the truck came out. I think for versatility and usability, it's gonna be miles different having that bumper, the winch, and the light bar. Because I remember last time we went up, it started to get dark out, and you think that your headlights are gonna be enough in the dark in the woods, and it's not. It's so much more difficult to actually see where you're going when it starts to get dark out when only trying to utilize the headlight. So the light bar is gonna make a huge difference. I don't know if getting yellow was the right move for the light bar, but it was on sale. Like I said, I kind of just got what was on sale for the truck. So, you know, even with just the headlights and the light bar, I feel like it's gonna make an extreme difference. I do wish that I still had my fog lights, so I will look into an option for other fog lights to try to add to this bumper. I can always weld some tabs to it if we need to be able to add some fog lights to the front of this thing, because I would like those back. But that is all I've got for you guys on this one. If you like the Tacoma stuff and you want more of it, let me know down below, and we can definitely do so. I have been thoroughly enjoying this thing as both a daily driver and like a fun little off-road thing that I go and do every now and then. If you guys want me to film that too, I totally can. I just haven't really been filming a lot of the times we go up into the mountains, just because we just kind of go up there to have fun. With that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, and whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be able to put it in one of these corners, I have no idea which one quite yet, but with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.